friends, welcome to the Point. In this session, we'll discuss about Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. That is FSSAI. It caps trans fatty acid in food, and that is the reason we are studying about this particular topic. And the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, it has restricted the permissible amount of industrial trans fatty acid in food products to 2% from 2022. So in December, FSSAI it had capped trans fatty acids in oil and fats to 3% by 2021 and 2% by 2022 from the current levels of 5%. So food products that incorporate edible oils and fats as ingredients, that includes edible refined oils, vanaspati or partially hydrogenated oils, vegetable fat spreads, mixed fat spreads, bakery shortenings, it fall under the ambit of newly issued regulations. So what is this trans fat? So most trans fat, it is formed through an industrial process that adds hydrogen to vegetable oil, so which causes the oil to become solid at the room temperature. This partially hydrogenated oil is less likely to get spoiled, so foods made with it have a longer shelf life. Some restaurants use partially hydrogenated vegetable oil in their deep fryers because it does not have to be changed as often as other oils. So some meat and dairy products, they have a small amount of naturally occurring trans fat. So it's not clear whether this naturally occurring trans fat has any benefits or it has any harm. It is not clear about it. So the trans fat in our food, the manufactured form of trans fat, it is known as partially hydrogenated oil. It may be found in a variety of food products like baked goods, like cakes, cookies, and pies, like microwave popcorn, frozen pizza, refrigerated dough, such as biscuits and rolls, fried foods, including French fries, donuts, and fried chicken. So, all this comes under trans fat food. So, what is this industrial trans fatty acids? So, industrial trans fatty acids. So, trans fatty acids, they are created in an industrial process. They are created from an industrial process. So, in this process, the oil is added up with hydrogen to liquid vegetable oil to make them more solid, and it increases shelf life of food items and for use as an adulterant as they are very cheap. So they are based or they are present in baked, fried, and processed food as well as adulterated ghee, which becomes solid at room temperature. They are most harmful form of fat as they clog arteries and it causes hypertension, heart attacks, and other cardiovascular diseases. So what are the types of questions that can be asked for a competitive exam, for UPSC examination? So they may ask what are trans fats, why are they harmful, how and where they are produced, what is the permissible limit that is set by WHO, World Health Organization, and FSSAI. So to which this replace campaign is related to, and they'll ask the details about FSSAI. Okay, let's move to the questions. What are trans fats? Trans fats, they are unsaturated fats produced from vegetable oils. They are commonly used in the preparation of margarine and commercially baked or fried foods. So there are two forms of trans fat, naturally occurring and artificial trans fat. Trans fat are of two types. One is naturally occurring and the other one is artificially made trans fats. These artificial trans fats, they are man-made fats. They are produced through a chemical process called hydrogenation. Naturally occurring trans fats, they can be found in many animal products including milk and meat. So how are these trans fats produced? If we see this process, artificial trans fats, they are a byproduct of chemical products or a chemical process called hydrogenation. Hydrogenation, it is used to turn vegetable oil into solid to improve its shelf life. So this chemical process changes the degree of saturation of the fat and it converts the liquid oil into solid oil or a semi-solid form. The resultant product. So after this hydrogenation process, the resultant product, it remains solid at a room temperature and is called partially hydrogenated oil. Hydrogenation, it preserves food. Hydrogenation preserves food, making them less likely to get spoiled. So this method, it is also relatively cheap and imparts a desirable taste to food. So why are trans fats considered to be unhealthy? Why these trans fats? They are considered to be unhealthy because this trans fat confers no health benefits. It does not have any health benefits. Instead, it is associated with a high risk of developing diseases like cardiovascular disease. So people who regularly eat trans fats and all know, they are more likely to suffer from heart disease and stroke. Because the trans fat, it affects the blood cholesterol level by raising LDL cholesterol. That is, LDL cholesterol, it is a bad cholesterol. And it also raises the level of triglycerides and it lowers HDL. HDL is good cholesterol. So trans fats, it cause systematic inflammation. It increases the formation of blood clots and it reduces endothelial function or vascular relaxation. So all this contributes to increase cardiovascular disease. Next, it is also prone to diabetes. So trans fat, it also contributes to insulin resistance and thus it elevates the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. So next is carcinogenic or a cancer causing property of trans fat. So this trans fat, it has also been linked to breast cancer development. A study that is conducted by Coelmer et. It found a positive association of body stores of trans fatty acid and breast cancer development of postmenopausal European women. So however, this fact it requires confirmation in other populations too. So trans fatty acids, they have also been hypothesized to increase the risk of colon cancer, alteration of immune response, cell wall integrity and impairments in prostaglandin synthesis or some reasons postulated for the same. And there is also a pregnancy complications. And people are prone to allergy if the trans fat is increased in their food levels. So you may get a doubt, which are the foods that contains a trans fat? Trans fat, it is found almost in most of the commercially available food like fried foods or baked foods like cakes, frozen pizza, tortilla chips, cookies, crackers, biscuits, coffee creamer. So these are all loaded with a trans fat. The amount or a percentage of trans fat in a particular packaged food, it can be determined by reading the nutritional facts panel. We can see a nutritional fact panel in whatever the food products we can take, and from there we can see what is the trans fat level in that particular product. So the trans fat level can be checked by referring the ingredient list and looking for the components that is termed partially hydrogenated oil. So now we should think how to reduce the consumption of this kind of trans fat food. So for this, the American Heart Association, it recommends some ways to reduce the consumption of trans fat food. The food label, the food label, it helps the consumer's intake of additives like trans fat. So while buying any processed foods, just opt for one with unhydrogenated oil rather than partially hydrogenated oil. Nuts and fish, it contains a high amount of unsaturated omega-3 fatty acids, and they are a good choices of healthy fats. Eat a diet rich in fruits and green leafy vegetables. So this includes proper proportions of whole grains, low fat dairy products, poultry, fish and nuts. Limit the consumption of red meat and sugary foods and beverages. Limit the consumption of commercially fried foods and baked goods. Processed food with alternative source of fat with zero trans fat levels should be selected. So these are the ways how we can reduce the consumption of trans fat. So I have explained what are trans fats, why are they harmful, and how and where they are produced. Have also said what is the permissible limit that is set by FSSAI. Replace campaign. So it was launched by WHO, World Health Organization, to eliminate a trans fat in foods by 2023. So World Health Organization, it has launched a comprehensive plan called Replace to eliminate industrially processed artificial trans fats from global food supply by 2023. So the elimination of trans fat is key to protecting health and saving lives. FSSAI, Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. It is an autonomous statutory body established under the Food Safety and Standards Act 2006. Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India is administrative ministry of FSSAI, and its headquarters is in Delhi. So these are the important questions which can be asked in prelims perspective. See you all in the next session with some other interesting topic of current affairs. Thank you.